Welcome to Flourishing Flame, from burning out to burning bright with therapist and coach Leah Brown. Are you a people helper or caregiver, feeling overwhelmed, distant, cynical, and crispy around the edges? Join me to defeat burnout by learning how to manage stress and create deep connective relationships with others so that you can pursue your calling, providing light and warmth to those around you. Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Flourishing Flame podcast. I'm your host, Leah Brown. And I was wondering, have you ever heard the saying that saying yes to one thing is saying no to 1,000 other things? Over the last several episodes, we've been talking about priorities and understanding what it is that we should be doing or the best thing to do. And now I wanted to pivot just a little bit and talk about how we can protect our time and our energy for those things that are the best yes. And part of that is learning how to say no. Learning how to have a no that is an empowered no, not something that we feel pushed into, but something that we are choosing to do and can do with confidence so that our answer can either be a resounding yes or an empowered no. Have you ever been in the situation where someone asked you to do something and it was an easy yes? Yes, it's helpful for the other person. And yes, it might be the thing you really want to do. But that one yes means no to 1,000 other things. No is actually pretty powerful. As I said, it protects our time and our energy. No is also a word or a concept that needs some exercise, that the more we use that muscle, the stronger and more controlled it can be. Part of exercising that muscle is to make it clear. Being clear is being kind. When we're not clear and we're kind of half answering or not fully answering, then it's not kind to the person that we're talking to. They can be confused, and it might take longer for them to understand that the answer is a no, the more that we draw it out and are unclear. Your no, N-O, helps others to know, K-N-O-W, what's going on and what they can expect. Our ums and I'm not sure make it unclear. If we go back to thinking about the DISC model of human behavior, when we say no, we need to be like a D. And to be direct, we need to use what Vanessa Patrick in her book, The Power of Saying No, calls stand-up words when we say no. Saying I don't or I won't is more empowered than saying I can't. I can't feels like there's something else that's keeping you from doing it, as opposed to you choosing something from yourself. That's a personal decision. And part of that, and making it clear, is making it clear if it's no for good or no for now. If you know it's a no for good, tying it to yourself personally is helpful. An example would be if you don't lend your car to other people, saying, I don't let people borrow my car, or I don't loan money to friends, or I don't make significant purchases without talking to my spouse or sleeping on it, or whatever is truthful. But being able to have those stand-up words allows it to be a firm answer that's clear and direct and kind. Some other examples of things you might say is, unfortunately, I need to pass on this one. That would be something that is a no for now answer. It might be, I'm sorry, my friend, but I am not able to. That's also one of those stand-up phrases. Thanks, but that's not going to work for me. Or, no, I'm not able to do that. Having clear no's is kind to others and helps us to feel empowered. In our clear no, we can also appreciate the ask. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm honored. You coming to me really means a lot. I'm immensely grateful. Rain check? Please don't stop inviting me. I might be able to connect another time. Which only say that if you're really being honest that you would like that to be the case. In exercising our no muscle, we are making it clear. And we're also practicing. We can practice by ourselves. One way to practice by yourself is practicing in the mirror. so that you can see your own facial expression and body language and can see the difference between having an empowered no and using those stand-up words. I won't, I don't, I'm not able to, instead of I can't. It might feel funny to do it, but it's a good opportunity for us to do the actions, practice the actions that might not feel as comfortable the first time we do them. But as we practice, especially if you know that you have something coming up that you know you're going to need to say no to, practice it in advance so that you can feel comfortable moving forward. Would you like to take what you're learning through the Flourishing Flame and take it up a notch? I'm launching an online version of the Burnout Buster Blueprint, and I'm looking for listeners who'd like to help me test it out on a new platform at a significant discount. Sarah, one of my current participants, shared what she was learning gives her the endorphins of a spa treatment, but even better because it gives her a plan and a blueprint to care for others well without the stress and overwhelm. If you're interested, schedule your free consultation call on my website, leahlittlebrown.com. Kind of pairing with this practicing by yourself, you can use a mirror, but I encourage you to also, in your mind's eye, look at how do I want this to play out? We have a hard time with our brains. Our brains have a hard time with separating out what is happening and what we're imagining. You can see that when you're reading a good book or you're watching a movie or maybe even you're listening to a song and you're so engaged in what's happening and what you're seeing, especially if it's a movie, right? You know that the good guy is going to make it across this jump from this one building to another building or whatever is happening, but you are emotionally involved in it. Even though you might have seen the movie before, your body responds to what your brain is perceiving. And so we can use that to our own advantage by taking the time to think through, how do we want this to play out? I used to live in a neighborhood that was right beside a shopping mall, and we had this really nice and lush row of bushes that separated the neighborhood from the mall. And there's one section in this row of bushes where all the teenagers would take it to go to the mall. And that one place in all of the bushes was cut through. There was no grass on that area where that path was. And that was the normal, regular path that everyone took. And when we in our brains have these normal, everyday paths that we take, whenever we come to that decision point, it's natural to take that path that's been worn. So when we're trying to change our path and to do something different, then we need to intentionally pull out our machete and cut a different path that we want our brain to go through. And when we imagine that in advance and imagine it all the way through, almost like if you're golfing or if you're bowling, right? You carry it through, or swinging a bat in baseball or softball. You follow through. And as we can do that, think through the situation. What is the question? And we can make up our own just for practice sake, right? Make up a question or something you know that's coming and walk yourself through it. This is what I want to say and how I want to say it. Take it all the way through to the end result and be excited and proud of yourself for saying no in advance of the need to say no. And then as you do that, you're imagining it, you're practicing by yourself. You can also practice with a friend. If this is something that you're struggling with and you want some extra support, pick a friend that could role play with you. In addition to role playing and practicing with your friends, let your close friends know you're working on saying no so that they can more easily accept your no answer. I don't know about you, but I know for me, the hardest no is the one I have to tell myself. When I have to say no to something that I really would like to do, when I know that it's not really my best yes. When I have to say no to something so that I can say yes to the thing I know that is the best thing to do. Again, that's one of those no's that takes practice. And we can choose to practice on things that are not as serious to help us, kind of like lifting weights. Start with the light weights. But saying no to ourselves intentionally every day on little things helps us to have that strength to be able to say no when it's something that's more difficult. It could be little things like, I'm going to say no to hitting the snooze button, or I'm going to say no to this extra serving of something that I know that I don't really need. But as we practice disciplining of ourselves in a positive way, right? We do all kinds of things to be stronger. And this is a way that we can be stronger in our inner being that translates across the board to so many other areas in life. I hope this has been helpful for you today. And if it is, please let me know. I really want these podcasts to empower you and to give you strength and motivation and to be enjoyable along the way. So if there's anything that stood out to you in this episode that you really appreciate, please let me know. Please like and subscribe and share it with someone else if it's been beneficial for you. You can also contact me on my website, leahlittlebrown.com. And until next time, take care. Thank you for joining me today. If this episode added kindling to your flame, please leave a review and pass it on to a friend who could use some encouragement. You can connect with me and find additional resources at leahlittlebrown.com. Now go forth and burn in all your brilliance.